Welcome back to Cool Times Podcast. We talk all things cool in the cold storage construction industry. And this month is Women in Construction Month. And we are going to highlight all the badass women in cold storage construction because that's what we do. Yeah, that's right. So joining us today is our girl K-Mac. I said it.
You said it. That's me.
Kathryn MacMillan, FCL Builders, Director of Business Development. And Kathryn, I understand you also help the your whole company nationwide on the cold storage front. And welcome to the podcast and congrats on being a badass woman in construction and specifically our industry.
Thank you.
How was that? That's pretty good, huh?
Great.
You were great, babe.
It took me a while to get here, so I appreciate that.
Yes. Thank you for joining us and being one of our features for Women in Construction Month. Tell us a little bit about how you got started in construction.
Yeah, I would love to answer that question, so thank you. Actually, I just realized that FCL Builders entered into the cold industry the same year that I was introduced to it. So
Oh,
the year
wow.
was
Oh, that's cool.
Yes, I've known that, but it just dawned on me that it was the same year, which is 1992. In Chicagoland, FCL Builders had just begun its first USDA food processing facility for a poultry processor and distributor. In it were 8 production lines of all kinds of process, frying, inline baking, a sauce line that all fed to blast freezers, and ultimately produced 22,000 airline meals per hour. So it's very cool, very complex project. On-site chemical treatment, of course, separate operations for raw and cooked lines. So 2,400 tons of cooling for production rooms and holding freezers. So a very cool project for us. And that was culinary foods. So that was in Chicago. Meanwhile, in California, there was a 7-year-old girl. And I caught a news segment that evening, featured a food scientist that apparently whose job it was to taste test Dreyer's ice cream all day. I thought, how come this wasn't presented to me as a career option? I didn't know that you could do that.
I didn't know that either.
That's amazing. Wait, what?
Yeah. So food scientists, look it up. It looks like a great job. So, but that said, I remember watching this segment and just thinking, there is a place in the world where all they do is make ice cream. And as a 7-year-old kid, that's pretty exciting. So I thought Willy Wonka is not just a movie.
That's right.
So, yeah. So, but at that point, I actually had already been interested in architecture and construction. At age 5, my dad suggested that I might be interested in becoming an architect. And I said, what is that? And he explained, and I thought, okay, that makes some sense for me. And so at that point, 7 and 8 years old, I was already a member of the Handyman Club of America, which I don't know if that exists anymore, but I have a pocket knife and a sticker to prove it. So
cute.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then I subscribed to Woodworkers Journal. For Christmas that year, I had asked and received a children's version of a power tool shop where I spent a lot of hours in the garage, not actually knowing what I was doing, but having a lot of fun trying. It had a drill and a saw. Yeah, very cool. And so I would say my whole childhood, I've been poking at construction without having directly gone into it as construction management project manager. So hats off to all the ladies out there in that role, for sure. So, but I did take a mechanical drawing class. I took wood shop. I even took photography because I like to go to San Francisco and take pictures of buildings and study how they were designed. And so all that decided for me that maybe architecture wasn't the right route, but it led me into opportunities to be a part of new construction openings for our hotels. I helped in a historic preservationist project and brand new hotels. And then I ended up in San Diego working for a custom home builder who did retail finish out. So a little dabbling here and there for sure. It makes sense in hindsight. If you look at like my life, like what were you doing and why'd you go here and there? But I think a lot of people can relate to a winding path. So
it all comes together.
Yeah,
it does. That's awesome. And we've had FCL. We had Corey Singer on the show a while back. So
I know him.
All of our wonderful listeners knows FCL, right? I mean,
They
maybe, but for all our new listeners, which I hope we have this year,
Welcome.
What? Yes, thank you for listening. But I guess explain a little bit about FCL real quick. Who you are as FCL, what y'all do, how big you guys are, your 9,000 offices across the United States. Yeah.
Thankfully, not that many. Yeah, no, thanks so much. So current snapshot is we are 353 employee owners. So we became an ESOP in 2019. And when I joined was 2020, right after the COVID lockdown.
Okay.
And so I've gotten to see the company grow through a really interesting time in our industry and now kind of see it settle in, and it's been a really fun journey. But that said, we very much care that we all succeed, that each regional office supports the others. One customer in one region, we hope that that will grow and become a customer in every other region. And so we are able to combine resources. And here in Chicago, where we've been for 48 years this year, that actually is the source for accounting and human resources and a lot of support that maybe the full service offices don't have to take on, so that they can really run projects well and give all their time to our customers. And that's so important. And that's something I love about FCL, and why I joined was I knew they cared about customer service to a point that I didn't see in construction, at least at that time. And so coming from the luxury hotel sector, that was very interesting to me. And I thought I might be able to contribute somewhere. So yeah, but yeah, we build industrial facilities of every type. So certainly a lot of that has been speculative, warehousing and distribution centers. I would say, give or take, year to year, it's been 10 to 25% of that has been some level of cold, so cold storage or food process, et cetera. And we're certainly a growing company, expanding into new geographies, but one that is very clear that the basics are most important. And I'm really grateful for that. So it's just a company that cares about people, and something that I love that I will always keep with me from FCL, maybe more than I've experienced in other firms. It's just that our customers entrust their investments with us as their builder. And so that is huge. So like, it is a high calling, it is a very big responsibility, but we consider it our part to carry and protect and advocate for their investment. Because ultimately that's a person behind that. And that's a very stressful experience to go through. And so we make ourselves students of our industry, knowing what the economy is doing, being able to understand how funds are raised and deals are made, and being there through all points of the investment piece, so that when we come into build, it is that much more efficient, that our schedule is even more tight and clearly laid out. So
that's awesome.
That's awesome. And how long have you been with FCL?
So it'll be 4 years next month.
Awesome.
And I knew them prior to that. So I had moved to Texas. Again, this is another left turn, you might say, but it's actually meaningful in my life. I pursued disaster relief as a career. And that may not make sense, but actually I really wanted to be there at a point where someone was going through something difficult, even traumatic, and walk alongside them and then be a part of the rebuilding phase. So that's still something that I care about very much in my personal life, but vocationally, I had the opportunity to work for a landscape subcontractor in Dallas, Fort Worth. And that introduced me to FCL. Ultimately, they became a customer. So I got to experience FCL Builders first as a subcontractor. Respectfully and communicated with honestly. I really appreciated that first.
Out of it was the Arlington office, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Not too far from us.
No, not at all. Yeah.
I love that.
Well, let's talk a little bit about, you've had a lot of time in construction since 7. What, if any, challenges that maybe you've faced as a woman in construction? What might some of those be, and maybe some strategies or ways in which you personally have overcome those? Have you confronted any?
Yeah. I appreciate that, because I tend to be a peacemaker. I don't look for conflict, but actually I'm finding the older I get, it's not about looking for conflict. It's a matter of resolving it when it comes to you. And it does come to you. We're on this planet together. So I think what's really important is finding wisdom to be able to to navigate difficult conversations. There's a lot of money at stake. There's a lot of personalities involved. So, and it just makes things complex. And we all get that, but it's so important to not forget that we're all people here. What I think has been the most helpful to me as a woman in construction is to take seriously what I do for a living. I don't think that I am less than because I'm in business development or because I'm a woman or because any other reason. I value what I do for FCL. And I think if people know that I care about my job, that I do my job to my best ability, such that I think about our superintendents a lot, where they're up at 1, 2, 3 in the morning pouring concrete. That's not me. And I'm like, thank God for you guys, seriously. And I want them to know, and everybody else in our operation to know, that I'm busting my butt just as hard for them, for our company to succeed. And so I think people don't care as much as we might think they care about gender and all of that, more that you're just good at your job and you care, do your part. And so I think that's allowed me to shed some of the insecurities that I come to a table with. And yeah, on the side, I learn everything I can. And so if you look this way, there is a real estate investment and finance book, there is building construction textbooks. And I love going on site. And so whatever I can do to be a better woman in construction and that's great. And so, and I can still do business development and add intelligence to my strategy and communicate that to the industry. So
everything you just said, it kind of hits home in my experience growing up in the industry, because I got in 2005 and I was in business development, and I would call on these engineers that were 60 years old with years and years of experience. I'm trying to sell them a product, and they look at me like, you know, what school bus dropped you off, son? Like, what are you going to sell me that I don't know? So, I mean, there's strategies there on how you deal with that. You know, I think visiting those job sites and showing that you care and getting in the weeds and doing all those things helps you position yourself to be a leader in the industry and earn respect. Do you have any strategies that you found effective for navigating? I mean, this is a very male dominant industry that we are in. I mean, any strategies whatsoever that you use to establish yourself as a leader or earning respect from men in this industry?
Sure. Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, here we go.
That was a good question, wasn't it?
That was a great question.
It's a layered one.
Yeah.
No, I know it's important. We talk about this. A few things I'll say that are on what you might call the soft skills side that I learned from my very first boss, Liz Walker. I was taught to use a lower tone, to speak clearly. I'm still working on that, as you hear, but the point is that it matters how you communicate, it matters what you communicate. My conduct as a human being represents my company, whatever it is. I care very much about FCL. I'm very happy here and I identify very well with them, but I am ultimately an individual that represents myself. And so you're being mindful of who is the woman that I want to be, and am I becoming her? Do I like who she is? And so I would say on the soft skill side, I had to grow up a little bit quicker, maybe just because I have a giggle, or I'm shorter than, I feel you.
I feel you there.
It matters,
I feel you, K-Mac.
And when I was a young manager, I mean, I ran a hotel at age 23. Like, who gave me that job? I don't know, but I loved it. And so as a manager of a hotel, they're like, are you serious? You're a child. And I get that. But if I could apply wisdom to the difficult situations that came in the construction phase, the customer service interactions, that was what grounded me. And so I would say it's being mindful of who is this person you're becoming, and what are the steps you're taking every day to become that person. I think about that a lot right now. And I ask myself, like, do I like who I'm becoming? Is there something that maybe someone that else can pay attention to my blind spots and say, hey, this would help you grow and you would become more of the full person that you intend to be. So in the industry, I think it's always your conduct. It's who you are as a person, what you allow, what you don't allow, and who you are and who you're not, and being really clear about that. I know I'm not a project manager. I am a business developer, but I plan on being a really good one. And I hope to balance that with other skills.
Love that. I love
Yeah.
that.
Well, and it's so true. Like knowing yourself, right?
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes in life we get, and in career, of course, we get so busy going after what's in front of us that we don't sometimes stop to look and assess internally, like, who am I in this role? Does that align with who I am as I identify as myself, like how I identify. So knowing that is a really strong strategy because it allows you to step into those rooms with more confidence, when you have that connection.
Mhm.
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 So that's an
Yeah.
awesome strategy. Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
crazy.
I would add the last year I stumbled upon an author named Louis B. Smedes, and he's passed on now, but he wrote a piece called The Power of Promises.
Hmm.
And I've taken from it a quote that's now a post-it note on my computer, and it challenges me every day. But it's called The Power of Promises, and it says, "We are our promises, and we lose hold of ourselves when we take no pains to keep them." And I think conceptually that might be familiar, but what the author is saying in the context is actually, when he says lose hold of ourselves, he's actually saying we become unrecognizable to those around us, to those who rely on us, when we are inconsistent with our character. And so that was a real, like, hit me in the face moment. I've experienced that at FCL. As a company, they have accommodated me, they have entrusted me with our customers and with our experience here. And I am just so grateful that I know the leadership cares very much that we are truthful, we are transparent, that we're not hiding numbers, and that we're not confusing deals, and it matters a lot. And it's not to say that we're perfect people, that's not the point, but when things are awry or
Mhm.
they are wrong, that they are
Mhm.
corrected,
Mhm.
and that there aren't fingers pointing in every direction, but that problems are solved. And I have seen that at FCL from a subcontractor point of view, paid on time, communicated with, and now as an employee owner with more investment at stake in this company, that I'm just grateful to know people like that. Like, I will not lie to your face. And so
Right.
it matters when he says unrecognizable, it's that you can't be counted on. If you're trustworthy sometimes and not
Mhm.
others, it's like, well,
Yeah.
now I don't know like where I stand with you because you were honest here and dishonest there. And so it's the idea, it's the pursuit of
Mhm. Sure.
keeping promises, and that is your identity, because now people can rely on you. So
Mhm. The power of
yeah,
promises, right?
I'll even send it to you if you want. It's easier. It might be a trick to find, but yeah, Louis B. Smedes is his
Okay.
name. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. So you've been with FCL now 4 years. Do
Mhm.
you have maybe, and let me roll this into one of our sponsored moments for the Cool Times podcast. Our sponsors today are our friends at Rytech and our friends at Applied Fabricators.
Nice.
A cool moment or a cool story, or maybe even a rewarding
Mhm.
story or experience that you've had in your experience in the cold storage industry?
Yeah, I have a few, of course, but one that stands out, and I'm going to give a shout out here to Cold Point Logistics in Kansas City.
Cool. You say Cool
Yeah,
Point?
Cold Point.
Cold Point. Yeah.
Cold Point.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Shout out.
Shout out to
Yes.
Cold Point.
So I had the opportunity to tour their facility and see their meat packing team work faster than I can count numbers. And it was very
Oh, it's
cool.
incredible.
It's, yeah. If you ever get the opportunity out there, definitely say yes. But that said, their values were displayed throughout the building. But more than that, actually, I heard it in between team members. I love that. I've seen that in your company. I've seen that in a lot of our industry partners, which I love, and I want more of that. But I just saw high fives and support. And then they even invited me to join them for their Special Olympics polar plunge in Missouri. So I said yes. They even donated to my page. I flew back
Nice.
down and jumped in the lake with them. And
Awesome.
it was just so cool that they embraced me. I think I was the only non-Cold Point employee, but I said yes, and they were welcoming.
That's awesome.
But it was just really cool to see that lived out. And then they extended that same value toward me. And so one of the values is living generously. And I remember that because what they did. But yeah. And then one more shout out, if I may, Marty Kate and Oliver Davis Sermon from Yukon Ventures. They
Yes.
were just the same. Like I flew down to meet them in Austin for the first time. And I would say we had come to the industry around the same time. So, but they've far exceeded where
It's
I'm
very
at.
cool.
But anyway, good for them.
What do they do at UConn? What do they do?
What do they do? That's your next segment. I'm not speaking for them.
Oh,
Write it down, Vince.
You gotta ask them. They're your next feature. So
I
I'll
love it.
okay. All
Noted.
Right. All right.
Noted.
Playing, hey, dude. Mini Mac playing How to Get. DJ K Mac. I love it. That's
So,
awesome.
but they're great guys in the industry. They just dove in the deep end and gotten to know a lot of people. And they're very respectful. I've had great conversations with them, just human to human. And so they made me feel very welcome also. And I was nervous to have that meeting by myself. So, but I never told them.
They probably didn't know.
Yeah, you probably smashed it anyways. Well, it sounds like you have a ton of wisdom and knowledge, and I know you do. I've known you for a while now, and you're very, very intelligent. And I think you can add a ton of value to the youth of America, mainly women. Let's give the young women right now some advice, if you could, that want to enter into the construction space. What advice would you give them?
Two things immediately. One is take a big, deep breath and relax. And that is what I think has allowed me to begin learning about myself more, to appreciate who I have been created to be and the things that I've yet to develop. Know that there's so much potential. So take a deep breath and just enjoy and revel in the fact that you are this incredible being with so much to offer. And it's only up to you to exercise and develop and practice those things. The other thing I would say is learn all you can and don't be afraid to ask. This is actually a very funny story to me personally, because Larry Davis is our COO and he opened our Dallas Fort Worth office. He is a man that I've always respected very highly, but he also I think he enjoys to intimidate a little bit. So
I don't know what you're talking about.
But that said, he has allowed a lot of us to reach higher highs and be really good at what we do. And so I'm very thankful for what he brings to FCL. But that said, I was asking and asserting myself into meetings and going on site and he told this story 3 years later, that this girl was like, you kind of being obnoxious and asking to go on site and and I thought, oh my gosh, are you talking about me? And he said, yes, oh. But he was so proud of the fact that I had asked and that I kind of just did it. And I wanted to learn, I am not kept from operations because I'm in business development. It's very important that I know what's going on.
Totally.
And our customers are being attended to and all of that. And so, and I wanted to just learn. I was just aware of my ignorance and I wanted to pick up whatever I could. So he came around a few years later and told me, he's like, basically be like her. And so take a deep breath, enjoy who you are and learn all you can. Just go for it. What are they going to say?
Yeah. What's the worst they're going to say?
Well, right. Yeah. And I think that too, when you can admit that you're a beginner at something, you get more people who are willing to help you, who have that expertise, who have that wisdom. If they're like, oh, you're new at this, but you really want to learn, they can tell.
Right.
I've found that people are more willing to share that versus if we come in and we're like, I know what I'm doing, but then I don't really know what I'm doing.
Right.
Yeah.
That actually, I would say, if I may answer the opposite question of what you asked, Vince, is what not to do. It is, I think women have faced a struggle because they are trying to overcome this male-dominated industry. And so sometimes that comes across as arrogance purely out of insecurity or ignorance, which is just true. And actually something that Corey Singer, whom you've had, my boss, he has helped me the most in that, is being able to say, how would you know? You can't know everything. Why would you know this? So it would be crazy to think that you did. So it's making a real honest assessment of where you are, where you want to go, and then just take baby steps along the way to achieve that. So instead of coming in and I'm the PM and I'm a woman and hear me roar mentality, that attitude is not enjoyable for anyone, and not even for you as a woman in the industry. come at it with like, I am on this team. This is what I have to offer. It is such a more welcoming environment to, and just enjoyable environment to work with when everyone has that attitude. So
that's a good point. Also, what not to do.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah. It doesn't serve you, I would say.
It doesn't. I mean, and you will collect more bees with honey, and it's you got to have that one team mentality in our industry. I mean, we're a very tight niche company, right? All of
Industry.
us, the industry,
Yeah,
you know,
for
when
sure.
you go to GCCA and SEBA, I mean, you see, we all know each other, we all love each other, we all want to support each other, and we're rubbing elbows and hugging our competition, right? I mean,
Right.
you know, and we're buying drinks for them and we're hanging out and you know, we really do ELE, I feel, and it's just it's very humbling too, because you go into these rooms and if you don't know something, what the coolest part about it is, I'll ask questions in my competition like, hey, I'm dealing with this. How would you have handled that?
Yeah.
For sure.
I don't know everything. And if
Of course.
I still call my competitors today and say, hey, you know, I ran into this. How would you handle it? Or what would you do? And they literally, they'll give me the answer. They want to help. And I truly believe human beings want to, like, people want to help people.
Yeah.
So if you just come in
with the right attitude,
say, hey, I need help, or I have a question, they're going to give you that. So your advice was spot on.
That's cool. You got to experience that. Yeah, I think it's more enjoyable this way. And then the knowledge sharing that goes on. It's just makes us all better and enjoy your work. And it's like, why not? Like, why toil and like gripe about stuff that doesn't matter? Just like so asking questions, it took me a long time to learn to ask questions and be comfortable doing that. So that might be my last piece of advice.
It's tough to be vulnerable though. If you ask a question, it makes you look like you don't know the answer or you don't know something, you know? So it's very good if you can just come from that place and say, what is this? Why do you do that? Right?
For sure. Yeah.
So, all right, K-Mac, you are a business development guru here. All right. So I'm going to ask you, I'm going to ask you a question here. I'm a cold storage. I'm a third-party logistics company. I want to build a building. I'm going to come to you. Why should I buy from FCL?
Yeah, no, I love the question. It's a very important one. And that's something that quote matters so much to me. It's personal to me, but it's also what I have seen true of the company, is that there are so many things that could and probably will go wrong in that job during the amount of time, with the amount of materials, with the amount of people.
Oh, yes.
So it is so much more about the character that we instill. It should be the very minimum barrier to entry that we are on time, on budget, and safe. That is like, if you can't do that, like, move us out, because like, what are we doing? Yeah, that is so important. And so being brilliant at the basics is incredibly important. We have added, and I would say even streamlined some of our systems and procedures to make it even more simple. Hammer Tech is a really great example of our safety software in the field that our subcontractors can interact with and use as well. And it just makes it easier. It makes it more efficient. And so that's just one thing that matters. It's safety. Quality is another. I would say, though, that it's about caring for the person and the idea that they're entrusting their investment to us. And so if they know that we're going to protect them at all costs, that investment is just as much our responsibility as maybe they hold it to be, that we will carry out every detail, that the customer's invoices are what they expected it to be, and that, we're going to be honest at every stage of that project. And so I think we continue to add expertise. We continue to add more resources to our team. We didn't always have a national cold storage team. It was something that we've been building, like I said, since the early 90s, but now we formalized it with a team that supports the other regions. And so those are people that have been in the industry their whole lives, and they've seen a lot of different product types, food distribution, et cetera. So the expertise matters very much, but I would say if our character is not there, then like call us out on that, because that's what we care about. And that is what differentiates us from being able to build you a really great product at the end.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Sold.
Yeah. Woo!
We're done here.
Nice.
So where can our listeners, if they want to find out more about FCL, what socials are y'all on? What's your website? If they want to follow you, where can they find more information out about what K-Mac's doing?
Yeah. Yeah. So actually, this is a very exciting month for us. We rolled out a significant undertaking of a rebranding for the past year. And so if you have ever been to FCLbuilders.com before, it's going to look very different now. So please check that out. There is a new logo.
I saw that.
That is the least that matters, that it is very cool, very modern. What matters is the systems behind it, like I mentioned, with safety and quality and making sure our teams are efficient and communicative with each other. The commitment to one another is just as important as the commitment externally to our partners and our customers. And so anything that supports that has been a really good success for us. We've created a lot of programs around our new hires, which I kind of wish I could like start over and be a new hire again, because it's very cool now. But there's a lot of investment in each person that we hire. And that is because who we hire is our FCL experience. If you like us and know us and trust us, like we'll say in the industry, if we're good at what we do, like we established in the beginning, it's being good at what you do and it's having character. Those are the things that matter the most. So go to FCLbuilders.com. And we are certainly on LinkedIn. We are going to be rolling out so many other things across social media and other areas throughout the year, case studies, things like this that you can check out, the QR codes, and it'll be a lot more modern, but really it's to simplify, to streamline, and to make what we do more accessible to everybody. So
I love it.
That's awesome.
And I'm sure we'll
Can't wait
find
to
you.
see it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's
I'm
great timing. So thank you for
it's
that.
great timing. And we'll find you at the trade shows and associations this year, right?
Yes, all of them.
All of them. What's your favorite one?
So I think the GCCA convention absolutely feels like a high school reunion. I love it.
Yes.
And I have to say, hats off to Fraser and their parties. That t-shirt from Fraser Stone is like, I wear that all the time. I don't know how you make a t-shirt so nice, but I love it.
We just had Peter on the show.
Yeah, exactly. That's right.
Yeah, that's
I
it.
got that. Yeah. So, but the convention's been very cool. But I love to see there was another opening in the industry for NAAP to come in, kind of on the developer broker side. So I think that actually is meeting a very cool need within the industry.
Icon. Yeah.
Icon cool. Yeah. And so it's cool to see GCCA evolve and develop and grow. And I hope to be more a part of it as the years go on. I'm trying to volunteer and insert myself there.
There you go.
Yeah. But NAAP has answered a really cool opportunity in the industry as well. And so that's something to check out if you've not caught it last year. So
yeah, awesome.
Cool.
Well, we're going to get to the segment of the show where I get to harass you a little bit with some this or that questions and put you on the spot.
Harass. Great word.
I feel like that's a really poor choice of words.
That's probably a poor choice of words for the show today, but we are a very fun and live outgoing show. So we just kind of say whatever we want. And people that know me know that I do that.
Yes,
we know you and it's okay.
All right.
Okay.
Are you ready for this or that questions?
I'm ready.
All right. Kathryn K. Mac, Mini Mac, DJ MacMillan. What other names I got for you? All right.
We'll work on it.
We'll work on that. Invisible for a day or able to fly for a day?
Invisible.
Cats with human voices or dogs that can text?
Dogs that can text. Of course. Yes.
That's great. Would you rather always have to sing instead of speaking or dance everywhere you go?
I love it. I feel like I'm answering too quickly, but dance. 100%.
Yeah, dance. There you go. All right.
Sure.
So with that, would you rather only be able to whisper everything or shout everything?
I'm getting old. Whisper.
Would you rather? There you go. Would you rather have every movie spoiled for you or never be able to watch one more movie in your life?
Spoiled. I'm okay. I'm okay if you tell me. Yeah.
There you go.
Because it's the journey. If the movie is good, it's good.
Yes.
That's
So
That's true.
and you can watch it again and you know what's going to happen, but it's good.
Yeah. Agreed.
That's true.
Agreed.
I don't think
Coke or Pepsi?
Coke, 100%.
Mhm.
No question.
Pancakes or waffles?
Pancakes.
Pancakes or French toast?
French toast.
Ah, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. When you're doing a project, do you like the box and box projects or the ground up projects?
Ground up.
Yeah.
Please.
Are you ammonia refrigeration or freon refrigeration?
Before I answer, do you ask everybody this question? Because I don't think,
A lot of people we do, not
Oh,
everyone.
Not everybody.
okay,
Mhm.
because I missed that.
I'm random with my
Don't come at
questions. I'm random with my questions.
me. Yeah.
And
Don't come at me.
you're not gonna upset Alta or Innovative or Republic or anybody. Don't
Everybody
worry.
leave K Mac alone.
Just-
She's
just leave
entitled
her
to her
alone.
opinion.
Leave me
Ammonia or
alone,
freon, all right?
Right. So actually, for the type of facilities we typically build, their size and type, I would go with ammonia.
Mhm.
Yep, for sure.
Makes sense.
Are you cold beer or cold drink?
I'm cold drink because I love champagne and club soda too much.
Ooh, there
And I
you
wouldn't
go.
want to limit myself to one
Mm-mm.
choice when cold drink opens it up to so many.
Yes.
Red-
Anything carbonated.
Red wine or white wine?
Champagne.
I said wine. Champagne is not wine.
I feel like she
What-
just answered that question.
Well, she said champagne, but that's not wine. I feel like I'm being bullied on this
No,
episode
no.
in
You
Women in
don't do
Construction.
that,
No,
you.
I'm just kidding. Oh man, we're having too much fun. Harassed, bullied. Oh my
Oh, yeah.
goodness. Here we go.
All of the words.
All the words.
I'm getting all the hashtags in this episode now.
Right.
All right. Justin Timberlake or Justin Bieber?
Timberlake.
Yeah,
I don't
Ah,
know Bieber stuff very well.
well,
that's okay.
We
I
got
mean,
some
I
new
love the hit, sure.
we got
but
some new JT music coming out now.
Mhm.
I heard, well, what the heck is it called? It was featured on SNL, whatever that one was. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good
Timberlake.
stuff. I like
Yeah.
it. Catherine, this
Bieber
was
was fine.
this was awesome. And you're incredible. Keep up the awesome work.
Yes.
And you can listen to this podcast. You can rewind it and play it back. To all our listeners, we are on Spotify and Apple Podcast,
Mhm.
YouTube. Subscribe, share, spread the love. This was incredible.
Thank
Catherine,
you for your time.
thank you so
Spread the
much.
love.
We're very proud of you and excited for your accomplishments, and your
Yeah.
future is very bright, and we appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you both so much. It's truly a joy and just an honor to know you guys and be a part of the industry with you, but certainly for today. So thanks a lot for that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank
All right. And until next time, we will chat with y'all soon.